So today we look at the Somdej Nuea Chedi Pasom Lek Lai, ancient Chedi stupa and Lek Lai powder amulet with also pieces of fossilized black ivory mastodon tusk powders. Larger pieces of the ancient mastodon tusk which were found were used to carve some solid fossilized black ivory amulets as well, which were immediately snapped up by the sponsors and the Gamagan. This one is in the sacred powders with stupa powders and Lek Lai fragments. And as said, called Nuea Chedi, which means the substance from the back of the Chedi, Hlang Chedi. It's actually Nuea Chedi Pasom Lek Lai, Lek Nampi. The reason I say Hlang Chedi is because it has a Chedi on the back. Yeah. So powdered pieces of Chedi stupa with Lek Lai fragments with sacred herbal powders in the Muan San. Muan San means the admixture. Yeah. And because of the presence of the ancient Chedi stupa, shrine powders and the Lek Lai fragments and all of the sacred powders mixed into this, including the mastodon tusk and all of the other herbs, it would be impossible to list everything, because from the herbal powders and other ingredients there were absolutely masses of different ones, and so it would be tiring to list them all. And also, I don't think I have the documentation of every single substance. So, one thing we can do is the basic synopsis, that there were three differing substances. So the first one was the Somdej Nuea Chedi Pasom Lek Lai, which is this one we're looking at. The other one was the Somdej Wan 108 Pasom Patat and Lek Lai, 108 herbal powders with pieces of Buddha relics and Lek Lai fragments. And the third was Somdej Payang Dam Rai Bin Hin Lan Pi, which was the millions of years old petrified holy wood and mastodon tusk, so black ivory, which was hand carved. Yeah. Apart from the Pra Somdej, there was also some Prat Nang Paya amulets, also hand carved and in powder, and the Nang Paya were carved mainly in Payang Dam, which is a black thorny bark sacred tree believed to be inhabited by a sacred deva. Yeah. And also from, it was petrified, so it was a petrified tree, millions of years old, and its wood is black, so it's considered a very, very powerful substance, and also prime magic, because that kind of tree is supposed to have a spirit deva dwelling within it. There was a 1,000,000 years old fossil of a black Payang Dam tree used to carve and to make powders for the amulets. So very sacred Muan San indeed, and very rare to find. It's not every day, month, year, or even decade or century you find something like that. And make amulets with it is unheard of, I think. Just to talk a little bit about the Muan San, the main Muan San, about the Payang Dam tree, which has a black bark, so it's a very, very, very sacred tree, and very popular for amulets, both carved and powder. And it's said, according to legend, that only 1 in 100,000 trees is black, and that the black tree is 100,000 times more powerful than the white barked version, which is the common Payang, but it's also a sacred tree. I think that's a bit of a folk thing, like 100,000 times more powerful. I think both are powerful, and there's also a red Payang Dam, but the black is considered the most powerful of all. Why? Because of its rarity, I suppose. Sometimes rarity seems to, in the minds of humans, it's more important. Well, of course it is. It's harder to find. So rare things have always been of great value, be they spiritually, magically, or even monetary. So the addition was actually made to fund the construction of a Chedi stupa, which is a relic, the spire you see in the temples, in which always have Buddha relics inserted into them. We'll usually have a ceremony when it's finished to insert the Buddha relic. And the amulets were released as part of the events of the celebration for His Majesty the King Rama IX's 85th birthday, who has now passed away. We have now Rama X. The temple which made the addition was a forest temple, so actually just a forest ashram, actually. Forest Sangha station, or Sangha office, called the Samnak Song Pu Thep Thawara Nimit in Karatburi in Nakhon Ratchasima, that's Korat. So if you were driving out of Bangkok to the Isan, it's about a couple of 100 kilometers to the east, so east central Thailand. And so in addition to these Pra Somdej amulets, there was of course also the Prat Nang Paya, which were made also in two materials, popular with ladies and children of course, but also with men. And it was also made that this model could be added into the documentation of the National Archive of Prat Nang Paya sacred amulets of historical importance because of the find of the mastodon tusk. So there was the Prat Nang Paya No 108 herbs with patat Buddha relics and Lek Lai elemental powders and or fragments. And the other Prat Nang Paya was from Paya Nghiu Dam Gai Pin Hin Lan Pi. So it's a black Nghiu Dam wood that has become petrified, not fossilized, sorry, petrified, over millions of years. And it was either mastodon tusk or holy wood. So they found both. Very, very, very ancient Paya Nghiu Dam tree that was petrified, and some fossilized, petrified black ivory of mastodon. Stegodon, sorry, not mastodon. After they found the stegodon and some other prehistoric era fossilized bones and tusks. Yeah, they found a mastodon as well, exactly. And the petrified new tree wood. So they used all of these things along with their other muonsan, and that's what makes it special, because this was a prehistoric find, right? Which would usually be taken away and put on display, but in this case it was used to make muonsan and amulets. So a very rare occasion to have this kind of muonsan. Because actually just the find itself would be was priceless. Anyway, so the addition used the smaller pieces of muonsan for making the 4 kinds of somdet and the 2 kinds of nang paya. I think there was 3 nang paya, I'm not sure. So 2 kinds of nang paya and 4 kinds of somdets. The top on-crew masterpiece models were of course hand-carved from the Stegodon bones and the mastodon tusks. And they were pitch black and petrified over millions of years. So the other thing was that they were pitch black, which is highly unusual, right? So this particular somdet is the one in powders with Lek Lai fragments and herbal powders and ground pieces of the smaller pieces of mastodon tusk and of Pea Nghiu Dam, ripened in Lanpi, the petrified Nghiu Dam tree wood in powder, and it's in the form of a very elegantly shaped Buddha with tapered pagate top knot spire going up to the arch, and he's sitting on a three-tiered dais. The two bottom tiers are, the bottom tier is of course the usual oblong squarish. The next one is the Tansing with angled, so it looks like a boat, right? And the third tier looks more like a cushion. The fourth one is the legs of the Buddha. There's a slender tapered waist. The arms go seemingly straight down. The arm to our right, you can see it's straighter than the one to our left. It has more of a curve, so you can remember that from the block press. And otherwise, very, very clearly pressed, beautiful amulet, on the front face. And the little white particles probably come from mixing Dingagyayak, which is a black peat marsh earth from a very holy marsh in the south, used for making Lumputut amulets. And that black peat earth is also known to produce little white dots as time passes on the surface of the amulet. So I would assume there's possibly some Dingagyayaks in there as well within this amulet. And the Buddha Abhisek, or the Buddha Abhiseka blessing ceremony was held with various monks, including, and the blessing was made on the 5th of April in 2555 BE. So it's now 2567 BE. That was, as I make this video now in 2024, in March 2024, it's 2567, so it was 12 years ago as I narrate this video, and it was performed at 12:55 p.m, so just nearly 1 o'clock in the afternoon. That will be for horoscope, astrological reasons. And it was performed at the Samnak Song, Putep Tawara Nimit, in Korat. And the following Geja Ajan monks were present for the blessing. Pra Chapariyat Gawi from Buriram, Pra Mongkon Waragan, who was the advisor to the Jaukana Amper, the provincial abbot of the province of Karatpuri, Pra Kru Sopanat Patanagit, Kru Ba Beng of Wat Tanot Luang, and Luang Potiang of Wat Khao Kadong in Buriram. So all Isan masters, and Isan begins just after Korat. If you leave Korat, where this Samnak Song is, and go further east, then you start to enter the Isan country. So it's kind of central, half Isan. So mostly Isan masters making these blessings. So all in all, it's a really rare edition of immense power, in my opinion, and of course with some of the rarest Muansan, which is usually not to be found for obvious reasons, and if found, usually not to be used for making amulets. So doubly rare for that reason, and hence a classic and memorable edition. And in my opinion, of great high sacred value, high collectability, and exclusivity. And they're not even, I think they should be a lot more expensive than they actually are, because of their rarity, especially now, because I don't think there's any left except the ones I've got, which are almost probably sold out all now. I think they might have 1 or 2 left. And very nice to leave to your children afterwards as well. So it's not an amulet to wear and then just forget after a while. It's an amulet to keep forever and pass down through your family as an heirloom amulet. And yes, of course, one can assume that over time, with those who know of the edition and seek it, because it's a very niche edition and very few know about it, that it will attain a very high market price in the future, because of the very limited nature and the extreme rarity of the Muon San, and just the rarity of finding an amulet made, a Pra Somdej or a Pra Nang Paya made with this kind of Muon San, is something that you're almost never going to come across. I mean, I think this is the only edition in my life that I've come across that uses this Muon San. So I'd say it's a once in a lifetime or once in various lifetimes, because you're not going to find millions years old mastodon tusks and Paya Ngudam petrified trees very often in the temple grounds and get to make amulets with them. Now, an archaeologist might find one and put it in a museum, but to find in a temple and make amulets with them, probably the only one that I know of. So for that reason, not just a powerful amulet and worthwhile collector's item, but also extremely rare and not something that you're going to be able to find commonly before or after, or ever again. Because I doubt that anybody's going to find a petrified tree and a fossilized petrified mastodon tusk again in a temple and make amulets with them. So I'd say this is a one-off edition. If it ever happens again, I'll be very surprised. So there you go. That's Pra Somdej Chedi, Nuea Chedi Hlang, Pasom Lek Lai with the Stegodon or Mastodon fossilized tusk powders and petrified Ngudam black treewood, sacred treewood powders and herbs. And if there's still any in stock, you can probably find maybe one if you're lucky, or maybe not, on my website at thailandamulet.net. I'm not sure if they're all sold out, and they're probably all sold out since ages. But anyway, this was just to document it on video for those who don't like to read, and for posterity, and for enjoyment, of course, and to make sure this edition doesn't get lost from memory, at least in the English language. So that was it. I'm John Spencer for the Buddha Magic Project, and my websites at thailandamulet.net and ancientamulet.com. Signing off.